everyone, and welcome back to English with Monica in Cajun. I'm Monica, and I'm super excited to be here today because we're diving into something that's just foundational to how we communicate. You know, it's like the DNA of our conversations.
Absolutely, Monica. And I'm Cajun, ready to unravel this linguistic mystery with you all. When Monica says DNA of conversations, she's not kidding. We use these structures every single day without even realizing it. But trust me, once you do realize it, it's a game changer.
Exactly. Today, we're talking about the four main types of sentences in English grammar: assertive, or declarative as it's also known, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. Sounds a bit fancy, but honestly, it's pretty straightforward when you break it down.
Yeah, like you're constantly making statements, asking questions, giving commands, or expressing how you feel. That's essentially what these four types cover. It's the whole spectrum of human expression packed into grammatical categories.
Right. So let's kick things off with the most common one, the workhorse of English sentences, the assertive or declarative sentence. This is what you use when you're stating a fact, giving an opinion, or just sharing information. It's making a declaration.
So like, the sky is blue, or I really enjoy a good cup of coffee in the morning. Simple, to the point, just stating something as true, or at least true for you, right?
Precisely. It typically ends with a period, and its structure is usually subject-verb-object or subject-verb complement. The dog barks. She loves ice cream. He is a great artist. These are all declarative sentences. They're telling you something.
And I guess most of what we say throughout the day probably falls into this category. Like, I'm going to the store, or I finished that report, or it's raining outside. It's how we convey information.
Exactly. Think of almost any news article, textbook, or even a casual conversation where you're just sharing details. The vast majority of those sentences will be declarative. They're fundamental for establishing facts and conveying information clearly.
So if the declarative sentence is about stating facts, what's next? I'm guessing the opposite, like when you want to get facts from someone else.
You got it, Cajun. That brings us to the interrogative sentence. This one's all about asking questions. It's designed to elicit information to get a response from someone. And the dead giveaway? It always ends with a question mark.
Like, are you coming to the party? Or what did you have for dinner last night? These are the ones that really drive conversation forward, right? Because if everyone just made statements, it would be a bit of a monologue.
Totally. And the structure often involves an inversion of the subject and verb, or the use of auxiliary verbs like do, does, did. So instead of you are happy, it becomes are you happy? Or using what, ish words. Who, what, where, when, why, how. Where are you going? When does the train leave?
That's a good point about the inversion. It's subtle, but it's what signals, hey, I'm expecting an answer here. It's like a verbal signal flare. I mean, can you imagine trying to have a conversation without asking questions? It would be so frustrating.
It would be impossible. And interrogative sentences aren't just for getting facts. Sometimes they're rhetorical. Isn't that amazing? Where you don't necessarily expect a verbal answer, but you're emphasizing a point. Or even polite requests. Could you please pass the salt? Which technically is a question, but functions as a request.
Oh, that's a neat distinction. So the function isn't always strictly get info. Sometimes it's about tone or interaction. That's pretty clever how language can do that.
It really is. Moving on to our third type, the imperative sentence. This one is all about giving commands, making requests, or offering advice. It's telling someone to do something. And here's the cool part. The subject you is almost always implied, not explicitly stated.
Okay, so like, close the door, or please be quiet. You're not saying you close the door, you just say close the door, and it's understood you're talking to the person you're speaking to.
Exactly. Go fetch for a dog. Listen carefully. Don't touch that. It's direct, it's action-oriented, and it can end with a period for milder commands or requests, or an exclamation mark for stronger, more urgent ones.
So the tone really matters here, huh? Pass the salt, please, is a gentle request, probably ends with a period. But get out is a clear command with urgency, needing that exclamation mark. That makes sense.
Absolutely. Politeness plays a huge role. Adding please or using a softer tone can transform a harsh command into a polite request. Think about recipes. Mix the flour and eggs. Bake for 30 minutes. These are all imperative sentences guiding you through a process.
Oh, right. Or instructions on like assembling furniture. Insert tab A into slot B. That's totally an imperative. So it's not just about bossing people around, it's about giving directions, advice, warnings even.
Precisely. Be careful crossing the street. That's advice, but it's in the imperative form. So these are crucial for instruction, guidance, and maintaining order, honestly. Imagine traffic signs without imperative sentences. You should stop here, instead of just stop.
Yeah, that would be a lot less effective. So we've got statements, questions, commands. What's left? I'm sensing something with a lot of emotion.
You're spot on, Cajun. That brings us to our fourth and final type, the exclamatory sentence. This one is all about expressing strong emotion or excitement, surprise, joy, anger, fear, anything really intense. And it always ends with an exclamation mark.
Okay, so this is like, what a beautiful day, or I can't believe we won. It's not just stating a fact, it's stating a fact with like a mic dropping fireworks, right?
That's a fantastic way to put it. It's the difference between the party was fun, declarative, and what a fun party that was, exclamatory. The exclamatory version conveys a much higher degree of excitement or pleasure. Or, that was a terrible movie, versus, oh my goodness, that movie was awful.
I get it. It's about the feeling behind the word. Sometimes the structure is similar to a declarative, but that exclamation mark just cranks up the volume. Like, I passed the test versus I passed the test.
Exactly. Punctuation is absolutely key for exclamatory sentences. Without that exclamation mark, it just becomes a declarative statement. And sometimes they start with what or how, but they're not questions. What a mess you've made, or how beautiful she is. These aren't asking for information, they're expressing strong sentiment.
Oh, that's a crucial distinction because what is your name is interrogative, but what a nightmare is exclamatory. The context and the punctuation really do change everything there. It's not just about the words themselves.
Absolutely. It's the whole package, and using exclamatory sentences too frequently can actually diminish their impact, making your writing or speech sound overly dramatic or less sincere. So, like any good spice, use them sparingly for maximum effect.
That's a great tip, Monica. I've definitely seen emails that look like someone just held down the exclamation mark key. It's like, okay, I get it, you're excited, but dial it back a little.
Right? So we've gone through assertive, declarative for statements, interrogative for questions, imperative for commands, requests, and exclamatory for strong emotions. They each have their unique purpose and their own telltale punctuation.
It's wild how we use these without thinking. Like I'm already mentally categorizing everything I say now. Oh, that was declarative. That was interrogative. It's kind of fun, actually.
It really is. And understanding them doesn't just help you identify sentences, it helps you construct better ones. When you know you want to ask a question, you consciously choose the interrogative structure. If you want to convey excitement, you reach for that exclamatory form.
Yeah, and it makes you a more effective communicator. You're not just throwing words out there, you're strategically shaping your sentences to achieve a specific effect, whether it's to inform, to inquire, to direct, or to express.
Exactly. Think about it in writing. If you're writing a report, you'll primarily use declarative sentences to convey facts clearly. If you're writing dialogue for a character who's inquisitive, you'll load them up with interrogative sentences. If they're a drill sergeant, lots of imperatives.
And for a dramatic, over-the-top character, you'd go for the exclamatory. It just makes so much sense when you break it down like this. It's like having 4 different tools in your language toolbox and knowing exactly when to use each one.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Cajun. It's about intentional communication. So next time you're reading a book, listening to a conversation, or even just talking to yourself, try to identify the sentence types. You'll be amazed at how often you encounter each one.
It's like suddenly seeing the matrix of language, isn't it? It's all there, always has been, but now you have the decoder ring. I'm definitely going to be more conscious of this in my own writing, too.
That's the goal. To move from unconscious usage to conscious application. It really elevates your command of English, both in speaking and writing. So there you have it, folks, the 4 foundational sentence types.
Thanks so much for joining us on this linguistic journey. Hopefully you're now feeling a little more confident in identifying and using these sentence types effectively. It's been a pleasure exploring this with you, Monica.
My pleasure as always, Cajun. And to all our listeners, keep practicing, keep observing, and keep making those amazing sentences. We'll catch you next time.
Bye, everyone.